Okay, so last time we spoke about the belief in the Hashgacha B'Kodesh Baruch Hu. And then I speak about an interesting thing over here. Parak Misha Meso, Hashmiya Kol B'Tfilah. So somebody who davens out loud. Harei Miktane Money, he lacks Emunah. Ayin Shambarachi. Shoshiv Shen Kosh Baruch Hu Nelachash. He thinks Kosh Baruch Hu doesn't answer when he davens quietly. Uvada Endi Vrein Levsoim. Chazal not talking about to idiots. Hachoshvim who think shekol namuch lo yishma, that Hashem can't hear a low voice. Kol gavak tzatz yishma, if it's a little bit louder, Hashem will hear. That's not what it means. Ava kavana miktane amar batzmo means somebody who lack belief in themselves. Al derech she's born, like we explained, she'ein ma'amin shefitlosim is kabbalas. The person doesn't believe that his tefillah is accepted. Achar shvosh mispal b'chol yom, he sees he davens every day, but lo nano klum, he's not respond to it all. David tzarich emunah gadol. This requires great emunah. Shabish enura kabbalas tefillah, even though you don't see your tefillah is accepted, v'asiyas ritzono, and you don't see your will is done. Im kol zeh, nevertheless, yamin, you should believe Hashem is baruch shomer tefillas kopeh. Hashem listens to tefillah of everybody who davens. V'lo shikate enus ani. He doesn't repudiate the response of a person who's ani, who's poor b'masim in his deeds, uvedas, and in his mindset. In other words, person who's humble, gamkein. In other words, a person who's humble both in his appreciation of himself and appreciation of his mindset, he gets response. Hashem hears. Even though it's not revealed to him. But there, Shamarnu, like we said, Lamin, you have to believe Gam Achshav, even now we're in Golus. That Hashem pays attention to every Jew, Rak Latov, only to good for him. Even it looks like the opposite. Vashmos call betfila, and to if you daven loudly because you think that then Hashem will hear me, otherwise not. He boy mitzayis orus alev becomes it comes out of arousal of the heart mitzad heder emunah betfila shapos, but of arousal of his heart that comes from a lack of emunah that his tefillah is effective. Rikshu Zen, this feeling going pu'ulas hasfotayim, it causes the lips to be activated. Bashmos akol to make a loud noise. Hayeshachshov, thinks ulai zeh or rachamim, maybe by davening loudly, it's going to arouse Hakadosh's mercy yotzer more kayadua. It's known that that's what people think. But you can't. You have to leave Hashem listens to davening every mouth. He answers also to whispers. Each person according to who he is. Kilo Baza Hashem does not reject, does not repudiate the tefillah of a person who davens with true humility and sincerity. Udvarim Elu, these matters are Iker Godel, their primary principle is Chaskus Emunah, in strengthening one's belief. Lamin Hashem is Mashgiach Olav, the belief that Hashem pays attention to you, in kindness to Majigosa, even and no matter how low your level. Just like he pays attention to the greatest of the great. Because before Kosh Baruch Hu, everybody is equal. Any type of the smallness in belief, by the yesh ba'atzmo comes because a person gives up hope on himself. From that which we wrote, he's born other. A person should pay attention. He should analyze, understand. How great is the level of having complete belief? How much diligence you need to bend your heart and complete belief. Even though every Jew deep down, at some level, believes in the truth of Hashem's control of the world. And all the other details of the fundamentals of Emunah. Nevertheless, that's an intellectual awareness. It's not embedded in a person's heart, in a person's emotions, a person's consciousness. That it should be revealed to a person in a person. By the activities of his by the strength of his activities, hayotzim min alev, that which come out of his heart, that he should never forget this emunah. Every person has it in theory, but in practice, and actually amplifying it and making it practical and bringing it out to person's activities, that's people fall short. This trust, somebody who doesn't trust in God and Miktane Amona, is lacking in his Emunah, who are not for Emunah Sashkacha. As you mentioned, this is a branch of the belief in God's divine control of the world. V'ikar gadol, it's a very fundamental, great principle. Shaput the movement with many details. V'erech bo b'chavas havavos. Chavas havavos speaks about length. V'anivim tzivu ma'odaz, and the prophets commanded this very, very strongly. B'kamakom in several places, batach b'Hashem, trust in God, bitach b'Hashem, trust in God. V'yisrael hepach, and they warn on the opposite also. Don't trust magnanimous individuals. Or a gera sheftach, curse the person who trusts other human beings. Besides, in the meat of his flesh, it's only in his own self. I think the Torah speaks about this. You specifically, God can be mitzvahs in another specific mitzvah, not just in Anochi Hashem Elokecha, like we said. This is what it says in Dvarim Paraches. Remember the entire way Hashem took him out of Egypt. He tortured you, he afflicted you. He afflicted you and he starved you. To let you know, not on bread alone does man live, but rather on what God tells us. It seems what's the concept of this mitzvah? Will be tachon. It's the trust. Even to a poor person, it's great poverty, but tachlis only, the ultimate poverty. He doesn't have what to eat. Yeshua's koyas memory mashu also Yisrael b'midbar, that what just how Hashem sustained the Jews in the desert. Kain leman v'gomer. So too he has to remember this for himself. Shagil l'shleimus Emunah, to reach a perfect level of Emunah. B'hashgacha shakol Hashem yisbarach, and to know that if he's starving, it's from Hashem, which is a very difficult level. I don't know anybody who reaches that level. I'm sure there are people that way. Come on, we're going to write more about Minyan Mitzvah. V'amar od sham, it says afterwards, later in the Psukim, be careful, pentishkachas Hashem, lest you forget Hashem b'gomer. Pentelchal v'savot, maybe you're going to eat and be satisfied, and forget about Hashem, v'shachachlas Hashem, b'gomer, etc. My power, my strength are what accomplished for me, what I accomplished in this world. Don't say that. Because you have to remember God. He's the one that gives you strength to accomplish things. He's here with Tzivah, because Baruch commanded us, warned us, commanded us. Mitzvah say a positive command, but also say a negative command. Lashirim, that rich people, they forget everything that comes to them from the power of their activities. It comes from Hashem. A rich person, because he's rich, he's likely to forget his Emunah. He says, interesting. In this respect, a rich person is much more likely to lose his Emunah, because he attributes his success to himself. A poor person, because he's poor, he won't forget Emunah. On the contrary, he's going to have much more. But what's he's going to lack? He's going to lack something else, like we said before. He won't believe in himself. To think that on a low creature like himself, Hashem also pays attention. Basically, we have two commandments, right? To know that Hashem controls everything from Hashem, and to know that Hashem, I'm worthy for Hashem to be concerned with me. And this warning of security, of trust in a man who not to trust another human being. It's included in the warning. Not to say it's my strength or my power which accomplishes me. That applies to other people as well. What difference does it make? But somebody trusts his own power, or somebody else's power. He's here. And so the rich person, he warns not to trust other people, to the in his own strength. Another person, another entity, meaning besides God. To an ani, as much as he will remember to trust Hashem. And it says after the command to a poor person, keep the mitzvos. Tells us that the poor person should keep all the mitzvos. Somebody who trusts God, so it's not enough that you trust. Trust is cheap. You have to also do the mitzvahs. Not to do bad things. We've talked about Hashem, so trust Hashem, that despite everything, eventually Hashem will do good for him. Or, I don't know, that it's good for him what's happening for him. Like it says, Yaakov, fascinating Gemara, according to the way the Ein Yaakov brings it down. Even a thief, before he goes in to burglarize a house, he calls out to God. And that's considered to be a high level bitachon, and this tefillah might even be answered. He says to Hashem, please help me to burglarize this house. And he dives into sincerity. He connects to God, and he trusts in God. He thinks God is concerned with him. Then he can have a tefillah answered.
Funny enough. Oh, after you ever watched, you probably never watched The Sopranos. Have you ever heard of that show?
I know, I heard of it.
After watching it, that prayer kind of makes sense. It's
Okay.
like there's because when crime gets very organized, it kind of seems like its own business. Kind of seems like I don't know. It seems like it has its own, I guess. I want to say kedusha because that kind of sounds off when I'm talking about like criminal activities.
Okay,
But
I understand what you're saying. Makes sense, yeah.
it's like I mean they rob trucks. What's it called? They steal them off the routes, and then I'm like thinking like I mean most of the companies that send off trucks probably have like an assumption some of them are not going to make it to their destination. I would think.
Right.
I don't know if
Right.
that's true or not, but like, maybe. But I mean, just, I don't know, just kind of that, funny enough, that makes kind of some sense.
Okay, it does. It becomes for them a profession. It becomes for them a way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Perkam Yuma says, you people are wicked, but if they trust in Hashem, they get responses. Shadav is the enemy that's bitachon. Livtach sha'ava pi shadav is the enemy that's bitachon. Livtach sha'ava shechita kosh baruch hu yimo. Now, it's not, even though that works, and says, so that's not the proper bitachon. You shouldn't trust in God to help you with your wickedness. Because it's going to cause you to be frivolous about sinning. So even though he sees that things are successful for him, the hour time is successful for him. And anybody says Baruch Hu lets things go, he doesn't let things go. Okay, the tefillah might work, but it's not to be the bitachon. It's not good that bitachon to sin, because that just makes you sin more. So that's there are limits here, right? So, I think that on the concept of the belief in reward and punishment for tzaddikim and rishoim, but Gakim says the same yuchad. There's also a special mitzvah to assume that everything is reward and punishment. And it's explicit mitzvah. Royal mitzvah really should be counted as one of the mitzvahs. Vu, and it's that much closer to that which it says in Sefer Dvarim. V'yodati Hashem, you should know that Hashem, Gomer Neman, is trustworthy, Shomer B'tzvah Chesed, who preserves the covenant and the kindness law above, those who love him, Hashem is also keep mitzvahs, V'gomer, etc., Mishnah himself, and pays his enemies. The mitzvah say it's a positive commandment, that's to know, lamin, and to believe. Hashem is model l'chol poel b'olam k'puloso. He measures out to everybody the activities they do in this world according to the activities they do. They are repaid, and they are compensated. Even though we see tzaddikim who have a bad, and Hashem have a good, lo yaktin emunah b'shul. Don't diminish your emunah on this count. Kimashu be'emes bar lamito, that which is true, and you know clearly, lo nazari won't deny b'shul edos ha'chusha kozev. Won't deny it because of the testimony of our senses, which can lie because they don't know all of the details. They don't know all the facts. Right? So therefore, even if you see things, tzaddikim suffering and Rishayim succeeding, you have to believe that it's for an ultimately positive purpose because we don't know all the things which are going on in Hashem's reckonings. Um, uh, also says, who knows the different reasons why things happen. Even though initially when a person thinks about this, each person will imagine, they really believes this. It's not true. like I said before, there's statements, intellectual statements, and consciousness and belief. He goes, "Absolutely both. If you pay attention, you'll see come upon him several times. Himraz baro that you rebelled against the Creator. But it's and if he had true emunah, punishes the shame. I only know me that she'll refrain from that avera. Miras onish upon him, at least from being afraid of the punishment. Kibeteva, because naturally, mora adam, in the nature of the fear of a human being, made a dover from some matter, a mafchid alev, which causes him to be afraid in his heart. He doesn't have any desire to do it anymore. So it must be if he doesn't anyway, that he doesn't have the proper belief in punishment. Also, people do things because they love reward. Never, and of course, shouldn't do things because you love reward, but because you love Hashem, love Torah mitzvahs. Nevertheless, somebody who doesn't do something that because he says, I don't want to do something because I don't want to seem like I'm pursuing reward. It also shows a lack of emunah in Tzadok, because you have to believe Hashem wants to reward you. You should do the mitzvahs because Hashem wants to reward you. And you shouldn't do it because Hashem doesn't want to punish you. And don't say, well, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to do it lest it seem like trying to get a reward. No, you should do it anyway. On the contrary, because Hashem wants to reward you. Doesn't mean he lacks emunah in Hashem. But his emunah is not firmly embedded in his heart. Uvita both to show, and he negated that moment. This is say biyadata. The man say to know that Hashem is there, and that should cause him to want to do mitzvahs and to refrain from averos. But feel lost so good avera, and even if he didn't end up doing that avera, because of some other impediment which disallowed him from doing it, but he didn't do it. The reason we refrain from doing it is not because of yiras onesh, because he's afraid of punishment, but just because of some other side impediment. There's punishment for not having properly recognized as reward and punishment in the world and acted accordingly, attempted to act accordingly. The general principle of these matters, the constant recollection, balev in the heart, the truth of these things that Hashem is constantly involved with everybody, no matter the level. You have to constantly involve yourself in this. We do some so the truth is opposite your eyes. They won't move from opposite your eyes even one moment. Rabbi Yochanan said, Tedu, they said, Sh'adam over Avera, and a person violates a commandment. Omer says, he says, I hope nobody sees me, but I have to think about Kodesh Baruch Hu seeing him. If he had true belief, Hashem's glory fills the entire world. With so full love, and he's looking upon him, and he sees his deeds, he would never sin. But even though but everybody believes this in theory, it's not embedded strongly in his heart. This concept, he forgets at time of sin. Sefer Chinuch is one of the mitzvos, which is constant. You always can fulfill it, and it's always incumbent upon you. Is Emunah Hashem. However, he means that what he means is that there's no moment you can desist from it. That you're going to stop believing in Hashem Chas Hashem. It's not necessarily saying that you have to constantly think thoughts of Emunah. Just say you should never have thoughts against Emunah. But still, was to reach perfection. Emunah in Emunah tzarech temidus. He's going to have to constantly analyze your Emunah. And clarify its truth to you. It's slow by yourself. Was there Emunah, and this way won't be one of the small Emunah. Shezek klal Torah kula shleimus Emunah. The entire purpose of Torah is perfecting one's Emunah in Hashem's involvement, engagement, and reward and punishment of creation. My comment so Simon Gimel. Also, there's another aspect here. Anytime you pay attention to this, Rekim is say you fulfill a positive commandment. And that's because of raised every rain, I think it's supposed to type so be Shevach, with the rain praises, the mitzvah of Yira, of fear of God, because you can fill 1,000 times a day. Ayin Sham. So again, why the Hag and Ramban not count the mitzvah say of Nochi, which said that they don't count it? Why they count and say it means that you have to believe that Hashem is concerned with you. You have to believe that Hashem rewards and punishes. You have to believe that the things you do are significant. Why they count it if it can pertain to all those things? Because it's a principle which includes many subcategories. So therefore, a principle which includes many subcategories, you don't enumerate it as a mitzvah. It's not an individual mitzvah. So in order to make up the count of 613, they didn't count but they counted as far as Losa said, the prohibition of not having another God. And you should be careful lest you forget God. And this is Ramban explains, you should never forget the primary principle of divinity. To deny it, at least stop it, or even have doubt in it. Of course, it's very difficult, but theoretically. Ryan Shem's question, he says we're warned twice. Now, which it says another time. Be careful, lest you forget God, to not keep his mitzvahs. Gomer. When the question is Chanul, he mentioned this in Emunah Hashgacha. That you have to believe in Hashgacha. Moshe Siyim Bo, being in fair, like Ramban himself says there. There are two warnings, two negative commands. One that you have to believe in God's actual existence. The other you have to believe in the Hashgacha. Hashem's divine control. Shem mitzvah saseh gamkin, which is also considered mitzvah saseh. Commotion is where it's explained. This is a very big, broad principle. That's why the Ramban and Bag don't mention it. El Shini has Torah mitzvah lo saseh, but still, that in terms of the negative aspect of it, the lo saseh, lo tzimi cloud, they didn't exclude that. Kamosha nu as Torah avodah zarah. It's just like he counted not to worship avodah zarah. It's one of the mitzvahs. Shemikom kol shach l'siyah zeh gam lefi dvarav. Even according to Ramban and Bag, they don't count Emunah as a mitzvah. There's still a negative commandment to deviate from Emunah. Basically explain they, according to Ramban and Bag, the reason no mitzvah and Emunah is because you can't command somebody to have Emunah. Either it has or it don't. It doesn't know, it doesn't. So it means you have to be take care of yourself. Not to come to doubts in Emunah if you can. And there's a great overarching warning, including Masham Chazal, including that which Chazal said, so it reads inappropriate books. And it doesn't have no portion where it could come. Uviaru Gemara says Sefer, meaning these are books of heretics. Including that which says Altigrava Pesach Beisah. Don't come close to the house of literally it's a prostitute, but it means the house of idolatry. Zuminas, even denying Hashem. Shakriva Aleim, coming close to them by Kriyas Ephraim and reading their books. Go remes lishkoach b'Hashem Yisbarach, cause us to not forget Hashem. We stop, they can be in doubt or lichborba or deny him chas v'shalom. The Davar said Roy Laskir this is appropriate to mention many times with us in our generations. Sharabah Noshim Neso, the many Jews, Hamasim Sifs of Hussein Chalakos, who's full with their smooth tongues, the smooth lips literally, as Narabin Neso, the children of Israel, Lam them Sefer L'Shonamim L'Kros Ephraim, teach them secular books and secular languages, and to read those books. But they make a mistake. They convince people erroneously. So Reb Tzadok is a chassid. He doesn't believe in science or math or literature, certainly, or history or any other secular wisdom. Okay, that's chassidim. They don't believe in it. And even though people say, well, it's going to bring you to greater emunah, no, because the opposite. Moshe Bar Osva Movis made us saying like we see with it happens all the time. Tested and we've sensed it. In fact, they bring evidence of the Rambam, But don't we learn those similar to Rambam, Be'er Karmon Shalotzkim Zeh, involved in secular books. And we can't judge them if they did the right thing or not. Because certainly we see by Chibur Rambam from the Rambam's works, the Hilchos in Halacha Otem Emunah is absolute Emunah. All the words of Chachamim, Shlo Yiziklo calls the klub. All secular studies do not help at all. But by us, we're going to see the opposite. So now it says in Tzadok how our Emunah requires a much greater focus in things which are lofty and divine, and eventually is going to get into discussing Kabbalah and how that brings us to Emunah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, well, but I think we'll stop here for today because I'm running out of steam. And
No problem.
okay, and have a good Yontif, and we'll speak next week.
Wait. Next week, can we do Motzei Shabbat?
I don't think, and next week we'll have to do late in the week because I have my grandson's bar mitzvahs on Shabbos. So I'm going to be in Philadelphia, and I'm going to be involved busy Shabbos and Sunday. So
Okay.
if you have a
So
day later in the week, let me know.
am I we can't do early. You're gonna be in Philadelphia on Shabbat? Okay. So I might have to wait until next Sunday.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay,
I'll let you know. Just okay.
all right, very good.
Have a good week.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.